Please don't cancel me because I don't like your Pixar movie that talks about menstruation. Bringing you a movie review that couldn't possibly be more timely unless we did this about a month ago. This movie called Turning Red came out about a month ago, maybe longer than that, frankly. And I remember hearing a little hullabaloo, and it didn't interest me all that much. One day, made a reference to it on the radio, and you sent plenty of informative emails to idea@wretched.org saying, you might just want to look into what that movie is actually all about. And what I discovered, I think, isn't the thing that people wanted me to discover. I think that they wanted me to see, okay, this has got a lot of Eastern religion inside of it. It has a lot of information that small children should not be exposed to in a movie theater. It should be dealt with by their parents, not an educator, by their parents. And it shows a child who is, what do you know, a la the Disney theme, rebellious against an overbearing mom. Sending the message, parents are stupid. Yeah, I did discover that. But what I found even more interesting than that was the response of the world. And I think that this movie, Turning Red, indicates that is exactly what's happening in our culture. They are turning red, hot, angry toward anybody who is critical about anything that they hold dear, including a movie that deals a lot with the subject of what happens to women on a monthly basis. You criticize that. You criticize something. It happens to be, too, that the characters in this movie are Asian. Therefore, guess what? You are sexist and racist. Let's take a look, shall we, at some of the reviews of the reviews. These are not the reviews. These are the reviews of the reviews. How did Pixar's delightful Turning Red become the target of sexist, racist controversy? Asks a woman from The Daily Beast. And she is clearly not happy that people have said things that are at all negative about a movie for children. That appears to be where we're at. If somehow progressives fell in love with golf, tennis, some sport, and you said, I just don't think tennis is as good as it used to be. Rawr! Imagine their reaction when you say Jesus is the only way. When reviews first started pouring in, things seemed to be looking good. A 95% on Rotten Tomatoes. But that didn't stop a few critics from shaming the movie for being exhausting. Okay, so somebody thought the movie was exhausting. That's shaming the movie? Any sort of judgment? For creating a character that's, quote, irritatingly obnoxious. Well, can't you think a character's irritatingly obnoxious? I found Felix Unger to be irritatingly obnoxious. Am I a horrible person for that judgment? And the answer is yes, these days you are. And over its scenes featuring menstrual cycles, which, blasphemy forbid, may prompt questions from confused children. Yeah, it may prompt them, but you're not the one who's supposed to be doing the prompting. It's none of your business how parents disclose information to their children. With all due respect to Disney and Pixar. One review bashes the film for including adult topics like puberty and menstruation. Another said, Turning Red is not a movie for a kid because the film glorifies disobedience. Get ready for this. This is exactly the type of absurd helicopter parenting that forces kids into defiance. Blasphemy. Here we are again, and that's the plot of Turning Red. Don't you dare criticize the secular worldview. This ain't stopping at gender issues, sexual issues. This ain't stopping there. Anything that is esteemed to be a critique of something valued and cherished, hold on for dear life. It continues. And don't even get us started on the sexism, misogyny, and retrograde gender panic I don't think anybody's panicking here, ma'am. Behind the backlash to the film's acknowledgement of a fact of life, girls have periods, that people are triggered to the point of review bombing, flooding sites with negative scores and reviews. It is the year 2020 or 2022, and tampons are still taboo. Come on! What another great example of an individual who thinks it's their job to inform my children about such issues. Ooh. Got to tell you, this is one that should be causing concern for parents. Just read an article that Grace Community Church is now going to be opening up 2 private schools. It's the hybrid model. It's sort of like classical conversations. You do a couple days at home, a couple days they go to be with the kids and a teacher. And they're going to start that because they just think the public school system is too dangerous. This is interesting to me that we're coming to this, because a couple hundred years ago, Lutherans already did. They built the parochial school system because they realized what's going on in there, it ain't so good. We want to indoctrinate the children, not the world. Indoctrination is not a terrible word. It just depends on who has the privilege of doing it and whether or not it is true. And so Lutherans regularly built schools. It was not uncommon. If a big Lutheran church existed, there was probably at least K through 8 on the grounds of the church. Well, it seems now evangelicals are going, maybe we should think about that for ourselves. And I think it's a good thing to think about. I truly do. Every parent gets to decide for themselves what they're going to do with their kids, but at least this would be an alternative, because let's be honest, all too often sending kids to a Christian school can be worse than a public school. Why? Because it teaches lies about Jesus. It waters down the truth. It makes the religion trite and silly or downright misrepresented. Christian schools can be real bad when they've become very, very, let's say, seeker sensitive. Why do I choose those words? Because there are 2 models for doing schools. You either do the ecclesiological model, that this is a church-based school and only members of the church can participate in the life of this school, or it's evangelistic, where we use the church, or the school rather, to bring the kids in so that maybe they'll get saved and bring their parents to church on occasion. And when it is that former model, look out, you will soon have a school that is vying and clawing to try to make it as palatable and popular as possible, which is going to mean watering down doctrine. Not teaching that God created the world in 6 24-hour days. Not teaching that God is serious when it comes to sexuality. Not teaching that Jesus is the only way, the truth, and the life. So now, churches, if you are concerned about families and parents and what they're doing with their kids, take a look at it. Could your church possibly support a school? You probably have the facilities already. If you're a bigger church, you might have the class. It's got maybe limited in size. But could this be something perhaps that we do to protect the little children from movies like Turning Red? And I'm sorry that I was critical. If you're a progressive, please don't cancel me because I don't like your Pixar movie that talks about menstruation. Please. What a world, what a world. Perhaps it is time for Christian churches. Oh, this is going to hurt. Oh, for evangelicals. Oh, it's like a kidney stone. That evangelicals learn from the Lutherans that maybe, just maybe, parochial schools ain't such a bad idea. This is Wretched Radio. If you would like to watch the entire clip from this episode, just skedaddle to our website, wretched.org. Houston, I think we have a few problems here.
Go ahead, Wretched One.
Besides the fact I'm wearing a cardboard helmet, Houston, you have got one of the biggest false teachers in the universe. kidding? He is so rich.
How rich is he, Wretched One?
I can see his house from here.